What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the show. So we're going to take a look and a listen to Harry Enten. He's going to be talking about the Senate map. And he's going to be talking about this is a numbers game, and Democrats right now are behind the 8 ball, and they might not be able to take back control of the Senate. Now, I do agree that it's going to be very hard for Democrats to take back control of the Senate, but they do have a realistic pathway. That's what I believe. So we're going to take a look and listen to what he's saying. We'll talk a little bit about it. Then I'll show you guys the Senate map, and I'll show you a realistic pathway that Democrats have to take back control of the Senate. So that's what we're going to focus on in this video. But first off, if you guys can do me a favor, please like the video. And if you're watching this video and you want to see more content like this, please consider subscribing to the channel. Okay, so the first thing, before I even show you this, what you need to understand is he's taking one poll. And I generally do not like to just look at one poll because, polls can be, they could be wrong. And so when you're looking at multiple polls, you at least have a better idea of where what way the wind is blowing, because if all the polls aren't going to be wrong. And so you could have one poll that's an outlier and say, well, this is the way the race looks because of this poll. But that is not necessarily the case. Now, he's using the New York Times Siena poll. New York Times Siena, very good pollster. And so you have a solid pollster, but sometimes solid pollsters could be wrong. And so let's go ahead and take a look at this, and we'll talk about it as we watch it. Here we go.
Okay, so what's the simple math here? Democrats need a net gain of four Senate seats to regain control of the upper chamber in Congress. And right now, the math, simply put, isn't there for them. That is the picture. And I want you, it's just, it's a math problem. It is a math problem. 2026 Senate poll margins. Okay, Democrats need a net gain of 4. Okay, you get 1 in North Carolina. But then you got a bunch of red on the screen. Now, these are close races, but you got a tie in Texas. Then it's plus.
And realistically, looking at a tie in Texas is good. Okay, right now that is good. That means that Talarico has a fighting chance of winning. I mean, this is Texas. It's unheard of that we're even having this discussion right now, because 8 months ago, we weren't talking about Texas being tied anywhere. Okay, we weren't even talking about it being close. And when you look at some of the other polls, they're showing that Talarico's ahead. You have some polls that are showing that Paxton's ahead. So, and most of them are within that margin of error, and that's something else that I hope he mentions here.
+2 in Iowa for the Republicans, +2 in Alaska, and then +3, if we can make the circle there, in Ohio. So that gets you 1 seat, but of course you need 4 seats. And on this board, red, close races, and a tie. You're at 1. You're not yet to 4.
Okay, so he just said close races, but when we're looking at the red, the +2, the +2, the +3, they're all within the margin of error. So there's no clear leader. And so realistically, statistically, you can say they're ties. So you can have a tie for Texas, a tie for Iowa, a tie for Alaska, a tie for Ohio. And just looking at this map here, you have 5 different states. I'll show you on the Senate map. If we plug in those numbers, Democrats only need 4, as he stated. And so if they won North Carolina, if they won Texas, if they won Iowa, and they won Alaska, then Democrats take back control of the Senate. It's realistic because we're looking at these numbers from this poll that's showing us that there's no clear leader.
Good news for Democrats might be they're close in Texas, Iowa, Alaska, and Ohio. But again, it needs to be 4 of these that are blue in order for them to retake it. Now, there's one state that you did not put up here.
No.
That's Maine.
That is Maine. Maine, which we've had a few Senate polls the last couple of days. And what do you see here? Even in Maine, a state that Kamala Harris easily won back in 2024. Look, the New York Times has Platt in her head by 2, but that, of course, is well within the margin of error. That is among likely voters. Fox News, on the other hand, has Susan Collins, the incumbent, up by 3 among all voters. So even in Maine, you have a race that, simply put, is way too close to call. So really, on the mathematical march to 4 seats, there's really only 1 seat at this point that Democrats can look like they can count on. They'll probably win one of these other seats, but again, that gets you only to 2, and you need 4.
Yeah, you might think the Democrats would hope they look better given the war.
And Maine, obviously, if we don't know exactly how that's going to play out now, but Maine is going to be one of those states that, I mean, we were talking about Texas before. You're going to have all eyes on Texas. Now you're going to have all eyes on Maine as well, which there were a lot of people that were watching Maine already, but now even more just based on the latest information that's come out.
Iran, given inflationary concerns. The question is their high water mark or can they grow from here? They will need to grow. What are some of the reasons why they might be having a little bit of a harder time?
The real reason why they're having a little bit of a harder time is these are red states, right? With the exception of Maine, right? These were all states that Donald Trump won back in 2024. And look at this. The median in the 6 key Senate races. Look at this. The generic Senate ballot lead for Republicans. Look at that. In the median state is 6 points. And of course, the median right down the middle is what, 3.5, right? So you need to win states in which the generic Senate ballot lead is Republican plus 6, and then say the Dem Party is too far to the left. Look at this, 53%. So these are states that are just very hard to win because bottom line is what is holding them back is the fundamentals. And when you put it all together, Johnny B., and you look at the prediction markets, which I think really can sort of put this all together, chance to win the Senate. The Republican chances, as you noted, John, the environment is getting a little bit better for Republicans. On May 1, Republicans had a 51% chance to take back the Senate. Now it's a 59% chance. Look, Democrats have a shot here. There are seats on the table, but the fundamentals are against them. And that right now, they're only one of the seats where they need to be. The mathematical problem is there for Democrats at this point. They simply put, have a statistical math problem.
All right. We will see what happens in the day.
Okay, so that was Harry Enten. You guys let me know in the comments below. Do you guys agree with his assessment? Now, I want to take a look at the Senate map, and we'll go over the analysis that he made. So he was basically saying right now, you have Democrats and independents at 47. You have Republicans at 53. And so basically what he was saying is North Carolina, it looks like Democrats will be able to win North Carolina. I agree with him. I think Roy Cooper is most likely going to be able to win in North Carolina. So that's one seat. So that would bring Democrats and independents to 48, Republicans at 52. Democrats need to win 3 more seats. And so if we were to put Maine on pause now and just say we don't know what's going on there yet, so we'll just put it on pause, is there a way for Democrats to win without Maine? Let's just basically say that. If we're looking at this map, it gets much, much more difficult, okay? But Democrats still do have a pathway. And if we're looking at states like Ohio, Democrats right now, I mean, if you're looking at the latest polling, I think the last poll that I saw, Houston was ahead by a couple of points, but that was within the margin of error, no clear leader. The poll right before that had Sherrod Brown ahead. And so when we're looking at the polling in Ohio, they're going back and forth. They're neck and neck right now. And remember, Houston is the incumbent. Sherrod Brown has been a senator in Ohio before. He did lose in 2024, but Houston right now is the incumbent. So if you're an incumbent and you're running neck and neck, there's a problem. You have a real shot of losing. And so Democrats have a realistic chance of winning in Ohio. So let's say they're able to win in Ohio. They also now have a realistic chance of winning in Iowa. And you have to look at both Iowa and Ohio, look at the climate there. Farmers, you have some farmers that are very upset. And if farmers are upset about what's going on with tariffs and what's going on with the fact that they're not able to sell their soybean. And I mean, when you're looking at situations like that, farmers saying they're struggling, they might have to go out of business. It doesn't just impact that farmer. It also impacts the people who live in those communities, because those small businesses are going to suffer, and then people that are in the community are also going to suffer. And so Iowa now, they're talking about this as a toss-up. Okay, that's what experts are saying in Iowa. And so you have Tarek versus Henson, and right now, Tarek, the latest poll that I saw, Tarek was ahead within the margin of error. And then the poll before that, Henson was ahead within the margin of error. So no clear leader right now in Iowa. And another good plus for Democrats is Rob Sand is running for governor, and he's doing really well. He's leading in most of the polls. And so you have Rob Sand that's leading in the polls as a Democrat, and he can help Tarek in the general election, because if people are going out, if Democrats are going out, or independents, or people are going out to vote for Sand, they might also go out and vote for Tarek. So we'll just have to see how it plays out, but that's another seat that Democrats have a chance of picking up. And then we move to Alaska. I think Alaska is a really good shot. If we exclude Maine, the only reason I'm excluding Maine right now is because it's up in the air what's going to happen. But if we exclude Maine, we're looking at North Carolina. I think the next best pickup for Democrats is going to be in Alaska. Now, we did see a recent poll that just came out that showed Sullivan ahead. Now, Sullivan is the Republican. He's the incumbent. But if you look at past polling, Peltola was leading in all the polls. This latest poll is showing that Sullivan's ahead within the margin of error, so there's no clear leader. but I just wanted to mention that. I still think Peltola has a really good shot at winning. They have ranked choice voting there. That could impact things. But Peltola, this is another one of those races. We were talking about Husted being an incumbent and struggling. We're looking at Sullivan being an incumbent as well, and he is struggling. And Sullivan is struggling because in the polls, he's neck and neck with Peltola, which he shouldn't be. He's an incumbent. He should have that advantage. And so Alaska, that's another state. And so just with that, Democrats and independents will be at 51, Republicans will be at 49. Democrats will take back control of the Senate. And we haven't even talked about Texas yet. Texas is going to be another close race. And Harry Enten had that as a tie, or at least he was looking at the New York Times poll, and it was showing Texas as a tie. Texas being a tie is a big deal because, like I said, 8 months ago, Texas was, it was likely going to a Republican. And now you could realistically say, the New York Times, Siena is saying that it's a tie. You could say that maybe it leans Republican, but Tallarico has a real shot at winning. And now that Paxton is the nominee, Paxton might not be able to energize his base to get out and vote. So we're going to have to see how that plays out. But that's another state that Democrats have an opportunity to pick up. And if they pick up that state, now we're looking at Democrats and independents at 52, Republicans at 48. But the bottom line here is Democrats can pick up all of those different seats that Harry Enten was talking about because the race is very close and there's no clear leader in any of those states. Even though the New York Times Siena poll was showing that Republicans had an advantage, +2, +3, +2. That doesn't mean much if it's within that margin of error. And so now I want to pass it off to you. What do you guys think we're going to see? Do you think Democrats will be able to take back control of the Senate? Do you think Democrats might only be able to pick up maybe 2 seats? I did the AI model. I talked about that, and it was showing that Democrats could pick up 2 seats, but they wouldn't be able to pick up the 4. So I want you guys to let me know in the comments below how you feel. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe for more. And remember, stay informed, stay engaged, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Bye. So that's all we have for this video. Make sure if you guys want to send me an email, you can do that, david@thetecshow.com. Like the video, subscribe for more, and check out these videos over here for some more great content. Talk to you later. Bye.